everybody, and welcome to Horror Movie Yearbook. I'm your host, Willie Gibbs, and with me is my co-host with a pretty kick-ass shirt.
Oh, this is my Kahlua Ranch shirt.
I like that.
Kahlua.
Very nice.
I got this over. This is where they filmed, like, Jurassic Park was filmed
Yes,
in this place.
that's right. You took your trip to
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yeah, about a year now.
Yeah, about a year ago. Yep.
Yes.
Well, congratulations on your Hawaii anniversary.
Thank you.
This is Tim Long.
Yeah, thank you. It was recently my wedding anniversary to the wood anniversary.
Yes.
5 year.
There you go.
Got my wife a nice little burned image into a wood piece.
Did you guys do that? The whole anniversary, like the...
Yeah, I mean, not so... Like, cool. We took a trip this year, and it was kind of a pre-anniversary trip.
Oh, no, I mean, like, the wood thing. Like, the like, you know how every anniversary has its own, like, gift thing? Do you guys do that?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So, we've always talked about that. But.
Yeah, I do. I mean, basically, we Googled it about a month before.
Which month?
Because we go, we go like, we're coming out on 5 years. That's probably one of these things, right?
Yeah. Is this the paper year or the gemstone year? What are we doing? Well, cool, good. Well, we're glad to have you guys here. We are going to be talking about Murder Party, which I'm excited to talk about. This is our first time, either one of us, I think, watching this movie.
I've never seen it before. Yeah.
Excellent. So it's rare that we are going in completely blind.
Our last two episodes, I think, were first time watches.
That's right.
This is our Oddball Halloween
We're on
series.
a roll. Our next episode, which we're not going to mention yet, is also going to be a first time watch for both of us as well.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm glad to have you here. Please, as always, feel free to send us feedback, horrormovieyearbook@gmail.com. We are on Twitter at HMYearbook. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook, all those fantastic or not so fantastic social media platforms. I do not have anything feedback-wise that I can see here. We did get a tweet from friend of the show, John Street, and
John was also on our was it Army of the Dead? Yeah, it was Army of the Dead, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yes. Yep, he joined us. Yes, so fellow co-host. There you go. Joined us for that episode, but yeah, he.
That's right. I remember this tweet now. Yeah.
He said he just stopped by to drop off these photos of the kid from Blank Check at an event for the Crow. Event for the Crow being in quotes.
Do we have any idea what the kid from Blake Check is doing nowadays?
We should scope that out. Also, he wanted to share that Kadeem Hardison was in 2 episodes of the Crow Salvation, or Stairway to Heaven, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The TV series as the Skull Cowboy, and he was basically just Kadeem Hardison in a hat.
Now, I have a question related to Kadeem.
Which is cool. Thank you, John, for that.
Thank you, John. Yes, absolutely. And I told him anytime you want to alert us of anything to do with any 1990s movie premieres, we are all about.
Please. We'll accept weird photos from these premieres.
The kid from Blank Check.
Okay. What's his name?
We'll start with him. Brian Eric Bonsall. He's a musician now.
Oh. Good for him.
Yeah, post-acting. He retired. He moved to Boulder, Colorado. He toured with the rock band The Ataris. Remember The Ataris?
I've seen The Ataris live, yes.
Yeah. He married Courtney Tuck.
They had that cover of my favorite song of all time.
It looks like he had some legal issues. We'll gloss around that. What's that?
Boys of Summer.
Boys of Summer.
Boys of Summer, my favorite song of all time.
Yeah.
Not the Ataris version, but they had a cover.
Yeah. So that's what he's up to. Now, I had another question about Kadeem Hardison.
Kadeem, yes.
This is an
Let's
interesting
talk Kadeem.
Star of
Different World?
A Different World.
Yep.
What's the horror movie I'm blanking on right now with Sam Jackson?
Oh, my.
Shoot. It's a trauma movie, and I'm blanking at it right now.
There's a trauma movie with Sam Jackson?
It's an early Sam Jackson, and I believe Kadeem Hardison. Kadeem is
blanking.
Death by Temptation. How did I forget about that?
Is that Trauma?
Yeah, it was produced by Trauma.
I didn't know that.
I'm 99% sure.
That's fun.
Yep, I can see it right there. Kadeem with his glasses. Remember he used to wear the glasses that like flipped?
Yeah, they were the cool flippy glasses. Yeah, it was a Different World. He was always had those on.
This is a fun movie, by the way. We should put that on the list.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
You a Different World fan?
So what I was going to ask you is, yes, I was a big Different World fan growing up.
Yeah.
Now, Cosby Show canceled completely.
Can't watch it.
Can't watch it. Can't talk about it.
The problem with the problem. I think we maybe have talked about this, but the problem with the Cosby Show, as opposed to other movies or shows featuring people who we have since come to realize were not good people,
right?
Like, worse than not good, like terrible people, like a Spacey. I'm going to go with Spacey on this one. Okay, Spacey. We know the things that have come out about him. I can still watch a spacey movie.
Right.
And I think the reason for that versus the Cosby thing is Cosby's playing such a wholesome, like...
He's a moralizer, yeah.
In in almost every role he's involved in that I can't, like, it's extra icky. Does that make sense?
Right. So then I guess the question I have for you is Cosby Show, done. Can't talk about it. Can't talk about it.
No.
What about A Different World?
Yeah.
Because it's a spinoff, but it's not...
But it's a spinoff caused by his being an asshole.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because Lisa Bonet went off, and she was really, really popular on The Cosby Show. Yeah. Understandably. I mean, beautiful girl. Like, I mean, it just made sense.
Lisa Bonet.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. Cowboy hat. But she went off and shot a movie with Robert De Niro and Mickey Rourke called, oh, my goodness, what is the name? It's a voodoo movie. She filmed a movie. It's actually kind of a horror film. And there are some pretty steamy sex scenes in the film with her and Mickey Rourke. She's naked.
Angel Heart.
Angel Heart, yes. Yep. We could add that to the list, too. That might be interesting. Just because, no reason that I want to watch Angel Heart again. But she filmed the movie Angel Heart, and apparently Bill Cosby was just, like, incensed by this.
Right.
Just, how could you do this? Where,
yes.
You're on a family program.
A principal man, yes.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. And so basically she got jettisoned. Like, the studio or the network was like, well, he wanted her off the show. But they were like, but she's like massively popular. Like, so they gave her A Different World. Yeah. And then she was only on it for one season.
Yep.
Yeah, and then she bowed out of that. Too,
I was a big Different World fan. So.
Isn't that crazy, though?
Yeah. I forgot about the backstory of that. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. You didn't come here looking for it, but you got it anyway.
Game Nerds, they are talking about Spider-Man 2, the video game, and Super Mario Wonder. Both of which... Yet? No, I believe these are going to be Christmas gifts, like asking for Christmas, because I just picked up Zelda again for the first time in months.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But also, I think this will be. But both of those games I really want to play
for sure.
Yeah. And
okay.
if you want expert opinions, you go to the Midwest Game Nerds on any of your favorite podcasting apps.
That's right.
What's your favorite podcasting app?
I don't know that I have a favorite. I just use, even though I think it's terrible, I just use the Apple one. Yeah. I don't know why I do, because I know there's better ones out there. Stitcher's gone now.
Stitcher's gone. I use Overcast.
Yeah.
A lot of people use Spotify.
Spotify's all right. Yeah. Spotify's all right.
Apple,
I use that too.
Last time I was in the Apple Podcast app, it was improved at least. It wasn't as glitchy as it used to be. Like, it was unusable for me for a while.
Yeah, and just the layout and the navigation just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Yeah, but check us out there. If you can find us.
And subscribe to us on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. Are you ready to jump in this time machine?
I think so. We're headed back to when again?
October 12th, 2007.
2007. Okay, so I am headed back to my... Oh, my gosh. So I would be... gearing up to move to Colorado at this point. Yeah, I've been working at Family Video for a few years. Going to be moving out to Colorado here.
I am about to graduate college.
Nice.
From Central Michigan University, Chippewas. Fire up.
Fire up, Chips. Okay, well, let's head back in the time machine. You got a sound for me?
What's a good, 2000 sounds? I'm thinking a do, 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 do. And there's a reason for that, and it's coming up.
Yeah, that's really good.
So back in 2007, this week, Al Gore was he won the Nobel Peace Prize, it says
for the internet thing.
Yeah, for the panel on climate change.
Oh, not for the internet.
Well, yeah, no. So, former U.S. President Al Gore and the UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change share the 2007 Nobel Peace Prize.
That's nice.
So there you go. Let's do top 5 movies at this weekend that Murder Party came out at very select theaters, I believe. I believe it had a very limited theatrical run.
Dozens of people saw this film in the theater.
It did have a little bit of buzz, though. But yeah, it was not. No. It never really blew up until it's got a cult following. Number 5, The Heartbreak Kid. You remember this one? The Ben Stiller movie.
Who is this?
Ben Stiller.
Oh, is this him?
Who's the woman?
Malin Ackerman?
Yes, thank you.
Never saw it. Saw the trailer a lot because it was on the screener for Family Video. It was on like the in-store screener. Yeah, so never actually saw it. I know she gets a bad spray tan at some point or something.
That's right.
Or a sunburn. Right. I don't know. Yeah.
Number 4, Michael Clayton.
Michael Clayton, boring.
This is the one
Clooney movie, right?
Clooney movies are 90% of them are boring. Right?
Yeah, I stopped watching Clooney movies. Yeah,
I think I liked this one.
Okay,
but I won't argue that it's boring. But
sure,
this is what's my man from what's the Star Wars show Andor? This is it Tony Gilroy?
Gilroy, okay.
I think he wrote this. Maybe
nice.
he directed it.
No, I mean I'm sure it's wonderful. I just
wait, Andor or Michael Clayton?
Both.
Yeah, Andor's good.
Yeah.
Michael Clayton is. This will make me a heathen, but I would prefer to watch Andor over Michael Clayton again. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I would if you had to. Yeah, no, I'd take that too.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
We Own the Night, number 3.
We Own the Night. Okay, yeah,
that's
I
Joaquin,
hate this
right?
movie.
This is a bad top 5 for you so far.
Yeah, I'm getting upset. So I pitched this movie idea that I had to like anybody who would listen at the video store, and then basically We Own the Night came out, and I was like, "Fuck, that was my idea." It's not fully my idea, but it's close enough.
Okay.
And I'm mad about it still.
What was your idea?
Well, I can't. I'm not going to do it.
Oh,
no.
because someone will take it?
Yeah, I'm never going to use it, but it dies with me. No, it was like a two brothers who are both, the sons of a New York detective or cop, and one of them went down one path and one went down the other path. So one went down the path of his father and became a cop as well, and the other one kind of got into a life of crime and trouble and tomfoolery.
Yes.
And they drifted apart over time due to the nature of what they're doing, right?
Right.
And there's a serial killer on the loose in New York or whatever city you want to set it in. It doesn't matter. I just say New York because that's the go-to, right?
Yeah.
And they are killing people and tattooing clues about themselves onto the people post-mortem.
Okay.
So they become like the tattoo killer.
Okay.
And younger brother, I'm telling you my whole plot of my movie now.
Yeah, it was like giving the elevator pitch is all I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the two brothers have
I
to
see
unite,
the similarities.
essentially.
Yeah. From what I remember of We
track
Own the
down.
Night.
So, but I didn't. Yeah, it upsets me.
What's funny here is there are no horror movies on this top 5. Number 2 was The Game Plan. I think this is the Rock movie where he's like the football player and like eats the cookies.
Yes, he's like a coach, right?
No, I think he's a player. Remember, and he has the kid, like the little kid comes to live with him, and then he eats the cookies, and he's like, "Well, you put any cookies?" He has an allergic reaction. He's like,
"This is pre-Rock, like."
This is pretty-fast, like
5.
Yeah, when he started like being in the sequels,
blowing up.
Yeah,
yeah, revitalizing franchises.
So this was like after. Like a lot of his vehicles, like the early like the 2000s, where his vehicles kind of did okay at best.
Yeah.
And he couldn't really get a franchise going there, so then he pivoted to kind of a lot of kids movies, I think, too.
He was doing the kids movies, and then like what was really smart about him or his agent or whoever was, they started bringing him into established franchises that were not like killing it, and he like became like the franchise savior because like it was like Fast 5, Journey to the Center of the Earth 2.
Yes. Yeah.
G.I.
Joe.
G.I. Joe they brought him into. Like it was all these franchises that were kind of like in a weird kind of awkward spot.
Yeah, he went back to a safe space after Dune, which is sad.
Absolutely.
Number 1, Why Did I Get Married?
Why Did I Get Married? Yeah, never saw this. There are like 2 or 3 of these movies. This is a
I know what this is.
An African American centered comedy. The trailer was very funny. I never actually got to see it, but yeah.
Okay, and there is a Why Did I Get Married Too, which is spelled T-O-O.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember these movies now. Yeah.
Yeah, they were very popular, so yeah.
All right, top 10 songs. Bubbly by Kobe Calais. I would probably know this if I heard it.
Yeah, I know that singer.
Yeah.
What was her big song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be that song.
It might be.
Number 9, Let It Go, Keisha Cole featuring Missy Elliott and Lil' Kim. I don't remember that one off the top of my head.
No.
Number 8, 1, 2, 3, 4 by Feist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, oh, teenage hopes. I think this is like a big Muppets song too. Like I think it was like the Sesame Street or some shit saying it.
Okay.
Bed by Jay Holiday, number 7. Number 6, you'll know this one, I think. Apologize by Timbaland and One Republic. It's too late to apologize.
Yeah, I don't like that
where
song.
they drop the A. What's that?
I don't like that song. It's too late to apologize?
Too late to apologize, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I apologize for my lack of elevator pitching.
You're going to see, I was trying to stop you because you're going to see someone listen to this podcast, and then a year or two from now, you're going to see like the Tattoo Killer movie come out.
Fine.
And we're going to have to review it and bomb it.
Make it. Just invite me to the premiere or something.
Number 5, Big Girls Don't Cry by Fergie.
Because big girls don't cry.
I believe she was married to Josh Duhamel.
Duhamel? I don't like that song either.
Duhamel.
Duhamel.
Number 4, The Way I Are by Timbaland and Carrie Hilson. You would know this if you heard it.
Yeah,
it's got a very distinct. Yeah. Number 3, Gimme More by Britney Spears.
Yeah, well, I didn't like that song either. Yeah.
Number 2.
It's rough.
Really excited to talk about this gentleman. Number 2, Stronger by Kanye West. Move it, face it.
Yeah, the less we say about him, the better. Let's move on.
We've already talked about Kevin Spacey and Bill Cosby episode. Let's move
along. Yeah.
And number 1, this was the song I did the time machine noise to. Crank Dat Soulja Boy.
Yeah, I can get into that. Okay, all right. Now we're talking.
By Soulja Boy Tell 'Em. I didn't know his name was Soulja Boy Tell 'Em.
Soulja Boy Tell 'Em. Yeah. I think there's an apostrophe in there too, right?
Yeah, in between tell and
hell yeah. Like that song.
Superman. It was a fun song.
There's a really good.
Do any of these songs remind you of Murder Party?
No.
Yeah.
There's a really good YouTube video that existed at some point, probably back when the song came out, of clips from Barney and Friends with Soulja Boy over the top, synced up with it. It was really good. Just search it out. You know, it could be out there still. I don't know.
Sure. I just went back to this Why Did I Get Married cast. It's a Tyler
cast,
Perry movie. It's Tyler Perry's Why Did I Get Married. But it also has Janet Jackson, Jill Scott, and Michael Jai White.
Nice.
Yeah.
Michael Jai White, yep, friend of the show. He still got your autograph somewhere?
Yes, I do.
Good.
My shirtless autograph.
Cherish it forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a great interaction with him. One of my favorites of all time.
What did you tell him I liked? Oh, Blood and Bone, right?
Yeah. I said, hey, you know, I just want to get an autograph for my friend Tim, and he goes, oh, cool, man. You know, I was like, he's a big Blood and Bone fan. He goes, yeah, man, we had a great time shooting that. Like, yeah, he's a big fan, and he's like, all right, man, you know, what picture do you think Tim would like? And I was like, let me get that one. And he goes, that one? What's going on with your friend Tim? I said, no, he'll appreciate it. He goes, are you sure? He was very concerned about you. And then I had him call you.
Oh, that's right.
And he left you a voicemail.
I had that saved for so long on my phones, and then it was lost at some point.
Yeah.
In one of my phone transitions.
Yeah. I think he mentioned to you, too, at some point, like, your buddy's getting a shirtless picture of me for you. And I don't know if that's a good idea or like whatever. Yeah,
I'm happy you told
It wasn't a good idea. It was a great idea.
It was.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Blood and Bone. Maybe someday. But we are talking about Jeremy Saulnier. Saulnier,
I think.
I'm going Saulnier.
Yeah. It sounds fancy.
Yeah, it does sound fancy. His first feature-length film, Murder Party. This is a random invitation to a Halloween party leads a man into the hands of a rogue collective intent on murdering him for the sake of their art, sparking a bloodbath of mishap, mayhem, and hilarity. This got a great poster, by the way.
Love the poster. Always remember seeing the DVD in the video store too.
Yeah,
so.
Dude with the chainsaws, blood all over him. Yeah, great poster.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I have seen it. The first time you have seen it.
Yeah.
What did you think of Murder Party?
It's funny. I've been meaning to. I'm a big fan of his movies, in general. So, for a long time, I've been kind of meaning to go back and like watch this and see the early stuff. You know, his earliest feature, and I just never have for whatever reason. I think availability was a big issue for a long time with this movie. If I remember, like it was like you couldn't get it anywhere.
Oh, and I should say this movie's free. This is on like Pluto, Tubi. Like you can find it
now
for free.
As available as you can.
So if you haven't seen it and you're interested, go check it out. It's free.
Yeah,
and it's
support
worth the watch.
Tubi.
Yeah.
Support your local Tubi. We love Tubi. Tubi giveth.
I was looking at the stats the other day. Tubi is ahead of Max and another one, like Apple Plus, I think it's, and like Peacock. Like Tubi is ahead of them.
I love Tubi.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't mind the commercials, even at one tiny bit. Bathroom breaks, baby. It's the best. Bathroom breaks,
yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah.
I love Tubi. Anyway. Yeah, so my first time watching this one, I thought it was a lot of fun, actually. It's definitely... It feels like a first movie.
For sure.
But it also feels like a first movie of somebody who's going to go on to do some really, really special stuff in the future. Not that Murder Party isn't special in its own way, but this feels like Saulnier's Reservoir Dogs in that sense. Where, like, now, Reservoir Dogs is an all-timer, but, like, what I mean is when you see what Tarantino went on to do as he gained notoriety and gained bigger budgets and gained studio support, you know, from Pulp Fiction all the way on till, you know, Inglourious Bastards and Django and Hateful Eight and things like that. But if you go back and watch Reservoir Dogs, you see everything that makes him the filmmaker he is in that movie right there. He doesn't say anything really all that different than what he winds up saying in Reservoir Dogs in terms of like, this is my style and this is who I am as a filmmaker. He carries that all the way through, even if he's doing, you know, different things with it. And I think it's the same here with Saulnier. This is certainly a little goofier than his movies that come later. It's a little sillier.
Yeah.
But it still feels like his movie. It just feels like his first movie. He doesn't have a big, a studio backing here or much of a budget to work with. I'm sure a lot of the people in the cast were friends. And, I know they were because Macon Blair, shows up in all of his movies basically. Yeah. But that being said, it's a really impressive first movie. It's funny, it's dark, it's a legitimate dark comedy, which I think we've lost we've lost what those actually are a little bit. Like, yeah. I feel like things get mislabeled as dark comedies a lot. I've heard House of Usher be labeled as a dark comedy. This new show, the Flanagan Show. Yeah. It's not a dark comedy. I'm sorry. Like, there are funny moments in it that are kind of gross, but it's not a dark comedy. Like, this feels like a dark comedy to me.
I'm trying to think of, like, just off the top of my head, some dark, like,
because there's,
you know what I think of, like, I always think of Cable Guy as a dark comedy.
Cable Guy is a dark comedy.
Observe and Report.
Yes.
Is a dark. You know what? A lot of Danny McBride, Jody Hill stuff is dark.
I would argue like all of it almost.
Yeah.
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 Halloween
even
Kills.
Like, what's that?
I said Halloween Kills.
Honest.
Kind of. Yeah. But no, Eastbound and Down is kind of a dark comedy.
Right.
Righteous Gemstones is a dark comedy.
Yes.
It's not about. There are horror comedies, which this falls in line with as well. But this is also this leans more to dark comedy for me, like where it's the subject matter is really grisly stuff,
mm-hmm.
and it feels real. And like the subject matter, if you just turned this movie a little bit, this could be a really nasty little horror movie.
Yeah.
But Saulnier realizes how ridiculous these characters should be, and he just lets them run with it and lets them have a good time with it.
He mentions Blood Simple at one of the interviews I was watching. Coen Brothers are a good example of what he's going for too.
Dark comedy, they can do that. Yeah.
And they have kind of the Coen Brothers have kind of a lot of the times you can tell they have a disdain for some of their characters, if not all of them in some of their movies.
Yes.
And this movie definitely has a disdain for a lot of the characters in this movie, if not all.
Yeah, I don't know that Saulnier went to film school. I don't know a ton about his background, but I would guess that he probably met a lot of people like this in his journeys.
Yeah.
And is lampooning them a little bit. But he also is able to make the situation feel dangerous and feel unpredictable, that you don't ever really know what's going to happen next to either our protagonist or to these wacko art collective people. I think all the performances are really strong. What's the name of the character that they all like bow to? Is it Jonathan? Is that what his name is?
Yeah, I'm looking right here.
There's a character that they all kind of They all kind of worship
Alexander.
Yep.
And
he shows up.
20 or 30 minutes in the movie.
Yeah. We get a little movie before he shows up, but you hear a ton about him. And when he shows up, I swear to you, that performance is so fucking funny to me.
It's really good.
It's really funny. He knows exactly what movie he's in. He knows exactly what, like, that guy kills it. Like, he's amazing. But yeah, no, I had a ton of fun with this. It's not a perfect movie. I don't think it should be a perfect movie. I think it's the kind of movie that I enjoy, warts and all.
Mm-hmm.
It does get. It's funny because, like, I hate saying, like, this movie gets too ridiculous because it's ridiculous all throughout. It does get a little bit unfocused and kind of like, what are we doing now? Towards the end for me, where I'm like, okay, where are we headed? Like, let's figure out how we're gonna end this thing, because it gets a little bit where I'm like, now we're just running around doing things, and I don't understand where. You know what? It feels a little unfocused at the end. And that is what it is. But overall, I really enjoyed it, and I think it's a ton of fun. Very worth a watch, for sure.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of his stuff, or if you're just a fan of, like, kind of crazy, out there, I don't know, independent horror movies, this is definitely something I think people could enjoy.
I'm lockstep with you. I had a lot of fun with this. I think it's fun to look back, being a fan of. Green Room is the one that I really love, and you can see the DNA in this movie all over it.
I saw Green Room with you in the theater.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And you and I were both like, that's one of the rare movie theater experiences where I think you and I have both agreed, like, they always say, like, edge of your seat.
Yeah.
I was legitimately sitting forward in my seat.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you can see the way because a lot of this takes place, the first, like, 60 minutes takes place in one room.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love movies that do that.
Me too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an indie movie staple.
It feels theater. Yeah.
And some movies struggle with it, but you know what? You mentioned Reservoir Dogs takes place a lot in.
It's basically in a single room.
Yeah. You have to be clever and smart with your dialogue when it comes to that, and I think this movie is. And I'm with you; it's not Reservoir Dogs, but it shares that in common, which is to keep me engaged. When you do that, it needs to have kind of a fun, clever, smart script, and this does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. I think when it gets out of that one room, it maybe gets a little bit too ambitious, big for its britches with the budget it has, and maybe the resources they have, but you can still see how talented he is as things get moving. And it has some fun gore if you're a horror. Mm-hmm. If you're a gore hound, towards the end, it does have a couple of fun moments of gore. We'll talk about those as we get to those.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing that separates this, and I was kind of surprised, a lot of these. You mentioned Macon Blair, who has gone on to act.
He's the lead in Blue Ruin, which would be. I think isn't that Saulnier's next film after this? Blue Ruin.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like, it's dark and it's really good.
But as I was looking through this cast, a lot of these actors and stuff didn't go on to do much, and I think some of them were just kind of friends and buddies.
Yeah.
And if you watch the special features, I just want to put it out there. There's documentary and a commentary on YouTube. They're both worth watching because these are very fun people to listen to talk. Yeah. The commentary is just like three dudes.
Who's on the commentary?
Saulnier.
Okay.
I believe Macon Blair.
Macon Blair's on it, yeah.
And then they call the dude that plays Alexander on the phone, and they just like talk to him for like 20 minutes or like 2 minutes, and he's like, I can't remember what he's watching a show at the time, and he's like, yeah, I want to get back to the show, guys. It's like some shitty reality show from back in 2007.
That's incredible.
I was surprised that none of these people haven't gone on to do it.
They're all very talented.
Because I think these across the board, these performances are really good and really funny and really know what they're doing. Sky, the zombie cheerleader, is actually his wife. They're still married. Yes. She's a producer on his movies, and I believe she's produced a couple other things, mostly his movies.
Yes. And the actress who plays the character in the Blade Runner.
Yeah, Lexi.
She's been in some stuff as well. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe
she's done some stuff, but that's about it. Honestly, that's.
But I think those are kind of things you need to go. You need to have the performances need to be on point, and the dialogue as well in a movie like this, and they are. I think this is. I think this is a really good, solid indie horror movie, especially from if I'm pointing to one around that time period.
This is about as good of an example as you're going to find, I think. Yeah, a lot of that stuff that was coming out around that time, from my memory, was just really not.
We'll get into some of them because I picked out some fun ones, but
sure.
Let's get into this plot.
Let's do it.
I'm going to read off.
It's pretty lean, so.
Yeah, the Wikipedia page has quite a bit, though. So,
is this RoboCop 69? What was the one guy's name? Remember that?
Oh my God!
Do you remember the legendary IMDb?
Yes.
What was it? RoboCop something?
It was like RoboCop, like 420 or 69.
It was sick. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
That RoboCop documentary, I think it's really good.
Yeah. I just watched the Chucky documentary, by the way.
Oh, that is pretty good.
That.
Yeah, Living with Chucky.
It was actually very sweet and tender.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Christopher, a lonely meter maid, finds an invitation to a Halloween costume party entitled Murder Party on the Street. Constructing a night costume out of cardboard, he makes his way to Brooklyn to attend the party, only to discover it is actually a trap set by a group of deranged art students. I should mention they shot a lot of the credits like months before they even had a script.
So cool.
Yeah, because it was in October, it was around Halloween time.
We might as well shoot some
New York and
some footage.
They decided they were going to make this, and they said, "Yeah, let's shoot some footage."
Another fun little thing. Before I forget, another Halloween movie set in New York.
Yes.
Scream 6.
Yep.
One of the characters in Scream 6, one of the main characters in Scream 6, is wearing the murder party costume as his Halloween costume, which I thought was really fun.
I can see that.
Did you notice that?
No,
So it's actually Ethan, the character Ethan in Scream 6, when he's at the party at the beginning of the movie, he's wearing the murder party, the cardboard night.
Nice. Okay.
It's kind of fun.
I can see them being fans of this
Yeah, for sure. I like that. Yeah, it was cool.
The art students in costume include Paul, a gothic vampire, Macon, a werewolf, Sky, a zombie cheerleader, Lexi, Pris from Blade Runner, and Bill, a baseball fury from the Warriors. They intend to commit a murder as a piece of artwork to impress Alexander, their wealthy and sinister patron, in hopes that they will receive a large arts grant from him. As you can see, very much skewering festival culture.
Yes.
Yeah. Not just art, but probably movie festivals as well. Chris has brought along a loaf of pumpkin raisin bread, which, by the way, they include the recipe to it on the DVD that came out.
That's wonderful.
Which Sky starts to eat. She then reveals that she is allergic to non-organic raisins, falls over, hits her head, and dies. The group hides the body out of embarrassment. All right, we'll stop there. I like the costumes are very much costumes that people around this they would dress as Pris from Blade Runner and a baseball fury from these people would. Lab of Madness is the group of it's kind of the production company, the group of friends and Jeremy Saulnier is a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
This their first attempt at a feature was titled Mustache. They shot a lot of like VHS stuff growing up. Like they were kids, they were friends together.
That's kind of classic, just like young filmmaking, like just shoot random stuff that you can. Yeah,
this is very much in the vein of like an Evil Dead.
Yeah,
and like where a group of people kind of get together after.
Let's make a movie.
Yeah. Let's go out in the woods. These people are just like, let's go
Might take us a year to shoot this thing.
Yeah, let's do it. They were basically they didn't get investors for Mustache. They shot a short trying to get funding for that film, so they literally said fuck it. Like, let's make this murder party. Let's do it with no money. And then in February 2006, they started shooting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they had festival runs with this movie. They received, this in their short film that they tried to get funding for, received 7 legitimate film festival awards. So
pretty cool.
There you go. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Yeah, that's just one of those like really like, I don't know, kind of wholesome stories in an industry that's not full of those. Around this time too, like it felt like a lot of like there was no hope at indie films a lot of the time. Like it felt like that was lost a little bit.
Yeah,
and to see like, I mean, you know, Saulnier's career obviously went places after this, but it's just, I don't know. There's something cool about seeing something small like this become anything.
Credit where credit is due to the distributor, because this is a Magnolia picture, which is did like Magnet releasing. They did a lot of like smaller independent movies. Splinter, we've talked about Splinter, was a Magnolia movie. I'm blanking on some of the other ones. But
they supported a lot of cool stuff.
Yes,
and then there was a lot of there was support too of like Asian horror too back then. Tartan was the big. I think it was Tartan releasing was the name of it. Yeah. They were releasing some really cool like indie Asian horror stuff too. So like there were cool
Oh, Black Death was a Magnet movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They released a lot of... They really kind of helped around this time, focusing on like lesser known movies, like we said.
Well, DVD and home video were still a thing.
Yeah. Oh, Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yep.
Yep.
Those were still a thing, and those were still very popular. Like, Netflix was not even doing its streaming stuff at this point in time. I don't think that started until a few years later.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It was still like DVD by mail. So, I mean, we were like, I just speak for the video store. Like, we were busy like all the time. It was crazy. So, yeah, it was an interesting time for the industry for sure.
All right, back to this plot.
Yes.
Alexander arrives to the murder party with a friend, Zyko, who was unknown to the group.
Zyko's sweet.
And his dog, Hellhammer, who is claimed to be part dingo. Alexander reveals that Zyko is his drug dealer. Each member of the murder party then gives their input on how they will commit the murder. Drugs... Is this the part where they show the hot dog being thrown at the...
Yes, yes.
Cracked me up for whatever, even. Drugs and alcohol fuel the group as they decide to wait for the witching hour, at which time they will all stab Chris in unison. This is funny even reading it.
It's like, what's funny is it's like the most basic way to kill. Like, there's so many interesting ways they talk about killing him, and they're like, well, let's just all stab him.
Yeah, because they're pretentious art students.
Yeah,
like they don't have an ounce of creativity in them. They're just
nothing.
Like, let's wait till the witching hour, and then we'll do
that.
Yeah.
Can I just say for a second? As soon as Alexander makes his entrance, the film shifts. Like the scene that made me go, okay, I like this movie was his scene where he does the, now take off your vampire shirt.
Yeah.
Now take off your vampire pants. It's so sweet. It's so funny. Because it's like the pettiest, like, he's wearing a crummy vampire costume when he comes in, and the other guy's actually like wearing a decent vampire costume, and he's like so like disgusted that they could be wearing the same outfit that he just like, it's so good. He like shames him in front of the group.
They wrote down a couple of lines that were cracking me up, and they aren't just him, but I think around this time someone goes, I didn't sign up for a second-degree assault party.
That's great.
They will read the cause of death art. All the kids are doing it in Belarus. And then someone says at one point, Paul puts the bitch in barbiturate.
That's a good one, too.
So, yeah, this movie is very funny.
It is very funny.
Where are we? Drugs and alcohol fuel the group as they decide to wait for the witching hour. Oh, yeah, I got that. While Macon leaves to pick up some pizza, Alexander has sex with Lexi, and then later with Paul.
Yeah, it's so sweet. I love that there's, like, nothing made of it either. It's just, like, there's all of a sudden he's having sex with her.
Yes.
In the background.
Yeah.
And then the same thing happens, and you're like, oh, now he's banging Paul.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
And then you accept it because they're all art students.
Oh, yeah. No, you're like, okay. Yeah,
or artists.
That feels right.
Macon arrives to see the two having sex and begins binge drinking and ends up covering himself in alcohol in the process. He later accidentally sets himself on fire with which only Chris notices. Paul, a photography artist, begins taking pictures of Chris and is frustrated no one will assist him. We talked about like skewering arts and artists.
Yep.
It's funny, yeah, I mentioned they did win quite a few awards for festivals. The one thing I wanted to mention too, because it touches on it a little bit, is maybe I'll get to. But what am I thinking of? Gentrification. This in Brooklyn,
sure.
In Brooklyn especially. This I saw. Jeremy Saulnier tells a story of how he was friends with a guy who moved to Brooklyn around this time. And this is when Brooklyn, you know what, this happens a lot in Detroit too, where a lot of working class people get priced out of an area. And only higher income people can live there. Mm-hmm. And so you get a lot of artist types that come from money maybe. And what happened was his friend was a cook, and he couldn't get hired anywhere in this neighborhood because they didn't have any interest in hiring someone who wasn't an artist as well.
Yeah.
Like, so that's where it was. So a lot of this seems to have stemmed from that experience. That experience and kind
makes sense.
Yeah. Will you ever take any art classes?
I took a photography class in community college.
Okay.
Before I started at a university, and I had to take an art class of some sort, and I was terrible.
Yeah.
I was just not. I mean, like, by apparently by everybody's like I was, but I got through it. But like I don't know. It was interesting enough. Like, but I was seeing what other people were doing, and I was like, I don't get any of this. Like, okay. I was taking pictures of like, oh, here's my girlfriend. Here's a picture of my girlfriend. They're like, that's what you took a picture of. And then like they were like taking pictures of like a trash can outside, and I was like, okay.
Like fucking American Beauty.
Yeah, like I was clearly not getting it, but my pictures developed and they were in focus, and I felt okay about that. The color grading on them was good enough. I passed. So yeah, I've been around it.
I took some college art classes just because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, for
it was
sure.
like an elective that fit with what I was going.
There's nothing wrong with it. I mean,
what I remember mostly is my classes. I mean, it's stereotypical, but they smelled like weed. All of them smelled like weed.
Yeah, there was some of that for sure.
Yeah,
we had to go back in the dark room and stuff, and it was like, oh, yeah. No, I remember that. Weed and like stuff trying to cover up weed that made it smell weirder.
Oh God, yeah.
Like patchouli and like no. The worst. I was there for that. Yep. The nice thing about the cinema class I took at least was like it was just BO smell, which.
Yeah, and then the art classes were BO and weed and patchouli.
It was all of that. Yeah, it was a combo. So
That's what I wanted to bring up. That's what I was blanking on here. Is well, the other reason I think we talked a little bit about how much they won, or they did win some awards at festivals. But the thing with festivals is a lot of it is exposure.
Yeah,
especially those smaller ones.
Right.
You're doing it for exposure, and they talk a little about. There's an interview where Saulnier talks a little bit about. He spent more money getting the movie into film festivals than like spending on the movie itself. He says that we premiered the film for a total cost of around $160,000. The film festival expenses exceeded $35,000, and delivering the film was another $40,000. So the entire budget came in just under $250,000.
Wow!
So you can say, like people say, like make your own El Mariachi for $6,000, but it will cost you $20,000 to properly hand it over to domestic and foreign distributors.
To get it seen.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean
that's the thing. So. They were able to do it, so good for them.
And that's scary. Like, can you imagine, like, being young and, like, having some sort of ambition that is, most people would say is pie in the sky, and, like, then going, holy smokes, we just spent.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's scary, for sure.
So a lot of it is just, honestly, you can tell is just luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
And talent, but luck.
Yeah, well, no, for sure. It's both. It's both. It's a combination.
Yep.
For sure.
As the group grow bored, they decide to play Truth or Dare using sodium pentothal and divulge their innermost secrets. They use saline in the needles for that.
Okay.
That's what they did, because they wanted to use real needles because it made people uncomfortable. I kind of like that.
Yeah, that works.
All of it eventually take a shot from the same needle, except for Alexander, who injects his shot into a slice of pizza. Each reveals mostly trivial truths about their lives and attempt to force Alexander to confirm that he indeed does have grant money to give. Bill, who's mostly kept to himself, discovers that the group make fun of him and plan on kicking him out, but only because his work is so much better than theirs. Macon confesses his longtime love for Lexi and recounts a story of when they were in high school and ate a popsicle together on a water tower. Macon shows he kept the leftover popsicle stick as a token, but as rebuffed by Lexi, Alexander sends Zyko out to get him some crank.
Crank, yeah.
I love that. I'm happy they use crank there.
That conversation is really funny, too.
Macon's a nice guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. What do you think of this Truth or Dare scene? This is a long scene. It's kind of a risky scene to put in the middle of a movie like this.
It works for me. Which
I like
against all odds, it works. It's very funny.
They're kind of spoofing the Thing a little bit, aren't they?
A little bit, yeah. There's definitely a bit of that. It's funny because you quickly realize that none of these people actually matter to each other, even remotely. Like, that's what's funny about it, is like you're not 100% sure. You get hints of like the relationship dynamics here, but you don't get any real full understanding of like how much this group actually cares about each other. And then you see this scene and you go, oh, none of them care about each other. Like they're all just selfish, nasty, like kind of awful people. Yeah. We're only in it for some sort of weird status thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's funny that way. But you almost feel a little bit mad for Macon. A little bit bad for him.
Yeah, he's a sad sack.
Because he's just kind of a bummer. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to give him a hug, but like, you're kind of like this poor guy, like sad human being, like just leave the warehouse and walk away, please. Like, I don't know.
We talked a little bit about the Lab of Madness. That's Saulnier's buddies. He wrote this. He tailored the characters towards them, so maybe that's why they work so well.
Yeah.
His wife was in it. Paul Goldblatt who was in it as well. He also handled the effects and stuff. What were you going to say? Sorry.
No. I was going to say his wife is barely in it, which is
she gets killed early. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising.
There's a joke about that. I can't remember why they did it, but yeah. I will say this is for as low budget as it is. This is a good looking movie.
It is.
I think the colors look sharp. This is a good looking movie for how low budget is. The other thing I think it does a decent job of, even when it gets outside. It's not like a great New York movie, but he talks about how he watched Scorsese's After Hours, and also you can tell that obviously The Warriors is a big influence on this, and you can see that a little bit there. So I think a lot of the New York stuff comes with like what we talked about with the gentrification of Brooklyn and everything like that, because these are the type of people that would move in.
It feels like New York to me enough. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I get enough of the New York vibe, and I've seen movies where it's like, I watch it and I go, this is not New York. Like, this is obviously like, I tend to lose myself in a movie if it's good enough. Regardless, I see a lot of people online that like where they'll be like, it's obviously Canada, and I'm like, but then you didn't like the movie, right? Or you weren't into the movie. Because for me, like, if I lose myself enough in it, I'm not looking at analyzing, like, it's even movies set in Detroit. Like, so I know Detroit. You know, there's something that I actually know that I've been to,
right?
Countless times. I can watch a movie. We just watched The Crow recently. It's obviously not Detroit, but like, I'm cool with it being Detroit. Like, I don't care. Like, I can buy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
RoboCop is another example where like a lot of that was filmed in like Dallas, wasn't it?
It's not Detroit.
It's not Detroit, but like I kind of feel like I think it's Detroit. Whatever.
It works for me. It's fine. In my mind, sure. That's
is it Halloween 6 where they show the big mountains in Chicago or in Illinois?
Yeah, I mean,
that stuff takes me out.
Yeah, that if you catch it, that can do it for sure. But once again, we're talking about Halloween 6, which I mean we both love, of course, but it's a movie that's not necessarily good enough to take you. If a movie's good enough, you won't think about these things, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
and there is,
it won't have a major effect on your appreciation of it. So,
frustrated with not having anyone to assist in his photographs, Paul calls his professional assistant to aid him. The group is not happy as the assistant is not aware of the murder party. Oh, this is the woman that comes in and
I forgot about this.
She's funny. An argument breaks out and Paul injects Alexander with a dose of truth serum. The group asks him about the grant again and discover Alexander is actually a fraud. He's a fry cook. That I mentioned his cook buddy who plans on killing the group, stealing their art and selling it as he assumes it will be worth more. Lexi discovers Macon on fire, and the assistant extinguishes him. Oh, this is where
How did Macon get lit on fire? Like, what was the...
I don't remember, actually.
I don't either.
Because this is the wolf, like where the wolf gets melted onto it.
Yeah, he goes outside to get the dog or to, like, take out whatever. But, like, do they ever actually show, like, how he gets lit on fire? I swear they just go outside and he's on fire. Like,
yeah.
Which I love. Like, that's funnier. But
the effect is great. The melt...
It's awesome.
The melt is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sweet.
The melt is really good. Yeah, I don't remember, honestly.
I can't either.
Zyko returns with a bag of crank, and Alexander immediately tells Zyko to kill everyone. Paul is shot in the head, but doesn't realize and seems to only be annoyed that someone interrupted his shot. The assistant is also shot in the head, and Zyko attacks Lexi. Macon, badly burned yet still alive, gets his chainsaw and uses it to attack Zyko, brutally killing him and passing out shortly after. The chainsaw kill is good, too. They did some effects. That's a mix. The chainsaw blades are kind of digitally done. They had a friend, Chris Collins, I think is his name. I can't remember. He's a friend that they basically just did it as like a favor for them, and it's a good. That's the other gory part. Yep. That and the melting werewolf face are the two like kind of gory parts where this is cool, and
it worked pretty well.
He grew up. Saulnier grew up kind of like a Fango kid, so it was a big deal for him to get those.
That's awesome.
Indie horror, we talked a little bit about around this time. This reminds me of, I'm going to name off some movies for you, too, that I think we kind of think of, I think of at least, in the same vein as this. Fido, you remember Fido?
Oh, yeah, I like Fido.
Remember Teeth? the vagina.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Baghead, which I believe is that it's not Joe Swanberg, is it? What's my man's name from the league?
I don't know. One of the brothers, the
Duplass. Is that Baghead?
Think so.
Behind the Mask is another low-budget movie that I think this kind of reminds me of. I think this is kind of in the same vein as those. Would you agree? There's a little bit of trauma tossed in there too.
There's a bit of that in here. Like it does get a little bit Toxic Avenger at times. Yeah, I could see that.
Maybe a little Romeo and Juliet, a little early James Gunn.
There's some of that too.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Remember that we've talked a little bit about the Mumblegore era with like Joe Ty West. I think you could
hate that.
Yeah,
that name, though.
I think you could make. You know what? I don't think you could make a case because I think those are sparser when it comes to dialogue.
This isn't Mumblegore.
I don't
think
so either. No, I saw it lumped in a couple places. I see why you might think that, but I think this is more. This feels just more like straight indie horror, dark comedy. Like
that's for sure. Like okay, he came around the same time as them. That's fine, but yeah, no, that doesn't vibe with me. No,
a little bit like a theater piece translate. Yeah, you mentioned that. I had that written down. I think you mentioned earlier, Reservoir Dogs. The other things I would think of, this reminded me a little bit of Dark Star, but
yeah.
The thing with Dark Star
I
is
can see that.
You can see Carpenter. I actually think you could probably see more O'Bannon. Is Dan O'Bannon in Dark Star? The early Carpenter movie I think I might compare to a little more is probably Assault. Maybe
I can see that.
Maybe a little bit more dark comedy, but I think
I can see that. But they share similarities in terms of that vibe of that early, like they feel like
one area
friends,
yes,
getting together to make a movie,
yes,
and they're limited in their budget and stuff, and so they have to keep it contained to one set,
right,
or one area. Like I love that stuff. Like that works for me.
Assault, you could see all over like Green Room.
Yes.
Like
oh yeah, totally.
Yeah,
but that for sure.
I'm trying to think of something like the other. Evil Dead is a good comparison with Raimi.
That's a really good comparison.
Romero, it's tough because Night for me is so much different than a lot of his earlier work.
Night's tricky because Night is also in black and white and it feels older than it is.
Right.
Which always makes it feel like 68 is not like it's obviously very old now, but like it's not as old as other black and white movies that people think of. Like I don't know, it's different. With
Romero, some of the earlier stuff where you can see his fingerprints, like what he would become later, it's probably like Season of the Witch and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like I don't know, Romero's different when it comes to that, but I would. Yeah, those are kind of what I was thinking too.
Well, Romero's got all of Pittsburgh behind him, so
right.
Yeah, they're all his friend.
All right, we're coming up on the end here.
Yes.
The chase leads them to an art student party. Look out. You ever been to an art student party? Have you been to a party? I have, yeah. I remember those. Like,
I've been to
parties with, like, I remember going to parties with, like, people that were art students.
I've been to a theater student party.
Yeah, similar.
They are very horny people.
Absolutely.
Like, there's a lot of repression going on. And there's a lot of stress involved with...
Horny and dramatic.
Yes.
Yeah, you probably see a lot of fights. Not like fist fights, but like a lot of fights and breakdowns, crying.
Yeah, I saw some of that. They basically just like were all... There was a lot of goofing around. Fooling around. A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
What do you have like a favorite?
I think it's just like they had to like excise the... like it's almost like I think there's a ton of stress involved in like productions.
Yes.
And I think it's like... And, theater kids tend to be nerds. Like,
right.
Let's be honest. Like, traditional nerd, like, they're kind of nerdy, And they all kind of, like, they get, like, a drink or two in them.
And it comes out.
Wow! It's getting wild. Yeah.
DTF.
Yeah, I left pretty quick.
Do you have a favorite, like, stereotypical group to party with? Do you like to party with the theater kids?
Gosh.
Do you like to party with the jocks? Do you like to party with the band members, the band geeks?
I'm a redneck partier. I like to party with rednecks. They're like because, and I'm not like nasty like, KKK rednecks. Obviously, I'm better than that. But
right,
like just like I like to party with like good old boy type people, like where they're just like they just want to put on a bonfire and crank some tunes and just
you know where
reminisce about the good old days.
You know where I come from.
Yeah. They want to reminisce about the good old days and laugh a lot. And, the
only thing you got to worry about with
farts are acceptable.
Yeah. See, those
Public
are chill,
farting.
though. But you got to worry about like an aggro redneck.
Oh, yeah. I've bumped into that for sure. Yeah. But the nice thing is what I've noticed is like usually the ones who are not the aggros tend to like get rid of that person pretty quick. Yeah, not like murder them. Yeah. But like... I don't think. Yeah. But like, make them not be there anymore.
Stoners aren't real fun to party with.
No, because they'll just want to.
They want to smoke weed.
They just want. Literally, all they talk about is weed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get into that.
Jocks are pretty aggro. I've partied with like a lot of jocks. Like it gets a little bit. They get a little bit much sometimes. They always want to like wrestle and.
I don't know how to
go. I used to party with a lot of like wrestlers in high school, like amateur wrestlers.
Yes.
And like I always get so pissed because like at a certain point they're all drunk and they just want to fucking wrestle all the time.
Yeah, it's like stop. Yeah. I have now partied with professional wrestlers.
Yeah.
On a couple occasions. They're fun.
Now they're an interesting mix of like jock and theater kid.
It's an interesting mix. Yeah. I mean, I've had good experiences so far. Everybody's pretty cool. Yeah. There's some chopping that might happen.
Yeah.
I'll not take part in that, but there is chopping. But yeah, they seem all right. I like them. But I kind of like that. I kind of like the rednecks isn't the right way to say it. I like I don't know. I like partying with like the
rural area.
Yeah, I like that.
That's I know
fun.
what you mean. The down home. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know
For
what
sure.
you mean. Chris attempts to hide in a performance art exhibit, and Bill is approached by the organizer, Cicero, and asks if he has seen Alexander, as a grant was promised to him. Bill is further enraged and vows to murder the whole scene. He enters the art exhibit and murders all the artists before cornering Chris.
I'm done with this scene. Everyone dies.
Macon, who has arrived at the party and has found an outlet to plug in the chainsaw, falls off the roof while plugging it in. Yeah, that's really good.
His third act contribution is trying to find a plug. Yeah. And then he dies immediately after. It's so sweet.
The M in Murder Party on the title is a plug and outlet.
Ah, that's perfect.
Yeah. The plugged-in chainsaw is conveniently left hanging outside a window behind Chris, who, after grabbing it and dodging an axe blow, brings the chainsaw down onto Bill's head in self-defense. Chris then slams a pumpkin onto Bill's destroyed head and screams, "I just wanted to party!" He exits the room, borrowing a security guard's phone to dial emergency services, explicitly pointing out that the scene is real, not art. He then leaves the exhibit as partygoers assume the murder scene is an art piece. Chris disposes of his anti-anxiety medication and arrives home, where his cat, Sir Lancelot, finally gives him back his chair. There you see.
I like that moment. That's fun.
That's the journey of Chris throughout this movie.
He's a man now.
Christopher sits down and turns on the television, still wearing his blood-stained costume. And that's it.
Yeah.
We talked pretty much about all I have.
What a ride.
The score, you can tell, they even admit like they rip off Nightmare on Elm Street a lot.
Yeah. It's a decent score though. Yeah. I'll say that. Yeah.
A lot of the bands that you hear in the music, there's some fun music in this. They were just people
local
they knew.
Bands.
People they knew, like they were friends with. At certain points, you can hear in the background. There's one point where you can, because they're in that warehouse, you can hear a truck backing up. Like there's certain things that, like, if you want them to take you out of the movie, you will. But like I'm with you, like you get caught up in it. Like, you don't care.
And now I find it fun to hear about this.
And
stuff.
Honestly, that kind of adds to like living in a city. Like you might hear a truck backing into that warehouse. Yeah, they might add to the
there's an over sanitation with certain movies, like studio movies, where like they almost lose their feeling of being real because they are so clean all the time.
Yeah,
visually and audio wise, like where you're like, oh my god, okay, yeah. So I appreciate stuff like that.
The chainsaw part was another part I wanted to point out too, because like when he mentioned it was in the documentary. You can see that it's digital, the chain. Yeah. But when I was watching, I didn't notice it.
I just watched it and I was like, he's sawing his face.
Like I mentioned, the commentaries on YouTube. There's a great moment. He gets a phone call. Saulnier, who is the director, because everybody said like he's the only one with enough patience to be the director, but he gets a phone call telling him that they got theatrical distribution on the commentary, and you just hear beers popping like
that's so
after
sweet.
He announces it, because he's like so excited, and then they continue on with the commentary.
That's so rad.
But there you go. Fun movie.
Yes.
It's
definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, it's all out there. So
I had a good time with it, and I had looking back now, talking with you about it. Like I'm like, okay, I had a really good time with that. Like,
yeah,
I enjoyed it even more than I realized. I think talking about it after the fact. So yeah,
there it is. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yes, support your Tubi. Watch Murder Party. Tim.
Yeah.
Now that we're done with our Halloween series, what are we doing next?
Our plan is to do Saw X.
Saw X.
You have recently watched all of the Saw movies leading up to this.
You are rolling through them.
I have been binging them.
Sawing through them.
I think I would make the argument that you know what? Here's where I'll tell the story. I won't tell it on the other. I think it's our most bingeable horror franchise.
It is.
Like today, like I literally like it popped up on Hulu, like the hit, like watch the next movie. I'm like,
it's like episodes.
It's like next episode.
It's great.
What I wanted to say though is I was finishing up, so I was watching at home. And
where are you at now currently?
So I was watching 4.
Finished 4?
I finished 4.
Nice.
And I just started yesterday, so I finished 4. And I'm watching at home, and my wife is like, "Hey, I need the room. Like, I've got to be on camera for work.
Yeah, sure.
Like, I need the room." So I'm like, "All right." And I'm watching it, and I'm getting to the end, and I'm sitting there like with Saw 4. I'm like, I don't remember shit about this movie.
No.
And like towards the end, I'm like, what the hell happens? But she's like, "Hey, can I leave the room? Or can you leave the room or whatever?" And I'm like, I want to continue this. Like, I need to know what happens here. So I load the kid up in the stroller, and I'm walking around,
watching it while you
Berkeley on my phone, like while I'm like balancing it, and then like kids are getting out of elementary school. Luckily, I have my headphones in.
I watched some Saw. I think I watched some Saw at a soccer practice. It was down real low with subtitles.
Yeah, with the subtitles out, and like the part where what's the dude's name? I can't remember his name right now. He's the guy that goes, "I'm bleeding, man."
Yeah,
he's my favorite character. He goes, "I got no fucking soul, man."
He's good.
But he's got the knives.
Yeah,
the knives are hitting him, and I'm walking, and like there's this woman walking with her kids behind me, and I'm like trying to push really quick. Yeah. So yeah,
you got to get your Saw in however you can.
I walked around with my child in the stroller, and
you think you're gonna finish them all before Saw X?
Probably not before.
You don't need to watch.
My goal is to get through 6. I think
if you're good through 6, I think you're fine because I think
4, 5, 6 are the ones I don't remember.
7 you're pretty savvy with, and Jigsaw and Spiral are like their own.
And I will watch those at some point.
Yeah, but they're very much their own things.
My goal is to get through the next 2, I think.
Yeah, smart.
Before Saw X.
Finish the most of the Hoffman saga.
By the time we record Saw X, I will be through. Yeah.
Cool.
The whole thing.
Good.
How's your Hatchet rewatch going?
Done.
How was Victor Crowley?
It's not good.
Better than 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Felissa Rose is the only reason why it really.
What a delight.
She's such a delight.
What a delight.
No, those aren't good movies. I walked away from my Saw rewatch like legitimately going like, you know what? That's a pretty good series. Like overall, I'm not too shabby.
I'm having a lot of fun with the Saw movies.
Yes, until I hit Saw 5, I didn't have any moment of like stumbling. Saw 5, I went okay, and then Saw 6, I went all right. Saw 6 is my my weird favorite. It's not my favorite, but it's like my weird favorite. Because it's like, you'll get there.
I think
Piranha, it's the best.
As I'm watching this, I actually think 2 and 3 are the high points for me.
Yeah, 2 and 3 are the best.
2 and 3, and those are the
in terms of pure quality.
Those are the Bousman ones. Maybe we'll do like for the Tiny Terror or something, or maybe we'll do like a bracket too.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, maybe we'll do like a double shot.
That's good.
Do a bracket, and then we'll do a Saw X.
Sawmania. Yeah, I like that.
Anyway,
well, they got 2 more coming out. They've announced.
Are they for sure doing those?
I think they've said they're like.
They made a decent amount.
They greenlit 2 of them. I heard something about. Who knows? I mean,
the thing is, like those movies, I was looking at the budget for them, and they're so low,
tiny.
They've already made their money back with this franchise. Yeah, go ahead and burn a couple more.
Yeah, they cost nothing to make.
Right.
So yeah.
So that's what we're gonna be doing next time.
Saw X.
Anything changes, we'll let you know. But
excellent.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe out there and stay scared.